In the first part, we learned the criteria of classification of animals. As I told, there are millions of species, so we cannot count it, we cannot remember all the names together. So we learn them according to the criteria. Now we learn all these different species under different phylum, coming under kingdom Animalia. So here in the first page, I put some animation images. Towards the left, you can see the phylum Porifera, where again you can see it's a moving image, so you can see different species in Porifera itself. So in Porifera there are almost 9,000 species present underwater, so some of them which you can see here. Similarly, just towards the right side, the next one, we can see jellyfish which is glowing. So there are certain jellyfish which glows, that is they show bioluminescence or glow in the dark. Then you can see at the lower end, again from left to right, to the left you can see phylum Ctenophora, the best example being comb jelly, which is a minor phyla, where you can see one comb jelly feeding on the other one. Okay, then the middle figure or animation shows a flatworm, again which is found under the water. Usually we learn about liver fluke or platyhelminthes, under which liver fluke or Taenia solium or other species come. So here we are learning or observing one different type of species under the water. Okay, then next, that is Aschelminthes or phylum Aschelminthes, where you can see two species, the male and female both are different. So the term Aschelminthes itself means round worm. Helminth means worm, whereas Aschel means round. So here most of the species are round worms. Okay, so today we are more going to highlight on these 5 species, that is phylum Porifera, phylum Cnidaria, phylum Ctenophora, phylum Platyhelminthes and phylum Aschelminthes. That's why I put up these 5 species, even though the other phylum will have a look at all other phylum as well. Now moving on to the next. Here I just put a general image of kingdom Animalia, where you can see towards the left it is invertebrates. You can see again different species of invertebrate or non-chordate, starfish or in sponges, or different species coming under invertebrate. Again towards the right we can see some more species of jellyfish, starfish, sea urchin, snail, etc. And lower part you can see vertebrates, again different images right from frog, crocodile, lizards, etc. So there are different species to get an idea of different species present in kingdom Animalia. Now we move to the next slide, where here you can see perfectly about the classification of animal kingdom, where towards the left vertebrates. Now as we means vertebrate meaning presence of backbone or animals with backbone. So here there are 5 class: Pisces, where fishes are present; amphibia, frog; reptilia, lizards, snakes, turtle, tortoise, etc. Aves, birds; and mammals, all other species, the terrestrial, specifically tiger, lion, elephant, all those species coming under mammals. Then second part is invertebrates, that is without the backbone or animals without backbone. Again here we actually come across 10 different phylums. So in that we just see 7 of them in the picture. First is Porifera, followed by Arthropoda, Annelida, Helminth, Echinoderms, Cnidaria and Mollusca. So here you can see some of the examples which we can understand which are the animals present in different phyla in case of invertebrates, or in case of vertebrates, that is the animals with backbone, present in 5 different class. Okay. Now the next slide. Here I put the entire chapter in one page which you have to learn. So this becomes easier for to learn and revise as well. Now if you see here, animal classification is divided into 2 parts: non-chordates and chordate. Now, in non-chordate, you can see 10 phylum, right? Whereas chordate, you have got 3 subphylum, and again they are further divided. So you just go one by one so to understand the different terms. Now it is very easy to understand if you bifurcate the terms. That is, you divide the terms into two half, it becomes easier to understand and remember as well. Now in non-chordate, the first phylum is Porifera. The term pori means pore bearers. Okay, so here cycon or the common name is sponges. Now all of you might have seen sponge, right, which has got small pores. So here this cycon species or example sponge has got similar appearance with small pores in its body. So all the animals or most of the animals coming under Porifera, they are pore bearers. Then second phylum Cnidaria, or it is also called as Coelenterata. Now here there are two examples or two parts actually. One is Hydra, which all of you might have seen, and second one is jellyfish, which again we learn in detail about this particular phylum. Okay, then third phylum Ctenophora. Now this is the smallest known phylum out of the 10 phylum which you can see over here. Actually there are more phylums present, but we are learning the 10 important ones. Now out of this 10, the Ctenophora is the smallest one, where the example is Pleurobranchia, or just to make it easier, it is comb jelly, as you saw the image in the first slide of comb jelly. Then fourth, it is phylum Platyhelminthes. Now again from the name platy means flat, helminth worms. So all the worms which are flat comes under this particular phylum. Example, as I mentioned earlier, tapeworm or liver fluke or Teniosolium, which is the scientific name of it. Then the next one, phylum Aschelminthes. The term Aschel means round, minthis worms. So it is roundworms. Example, Ascaris. As again in the first page you saw the picture of Ascaris, male and female, both are separate. Okay, then next phylum Annelida, example earthworm. Now in case of Annelida, presence of annuli or rings around the body. So all of you might have seen earthworm, specifically during the rainy season, right, which has got rings in the body. Now other examples other than earthworm, it is leech. That also most of you might be knowing about leech. And one more species which you commonly learn is Nereis. Okay, so here the common example I have put which you come across, which will be easier for you to understand. Next phylum is Arthropoda. The term arthro means joint, poda means foot. So they have got joint foot, or we can say appendages. Now up till Annelida, they don't have any appendages of foot. From Arthropoda onwards, higher species, most of them are having foot or the appendages. So here the example is cockroach, and Arthropoda is the largest known phylum where there are lakhs of species present in it. Or if I just give a small example which we found in our surrounding at our home, right, flies, fleas, mosquito, cockroach, all insects, they come under Arthropoda. But there are some useful one also, honeybee for honey, or silkworm for silk. So the useful one also which comes under Arthropoda. Okay, the next is phylum Mollusca. The mollusca, soft-bodied animals. Example, octopus, which again most of you know. Only thing is, sometimes we remember mollusca as having shells. Okay, but the shells may be external, internal, or in certain cases like octopus, it might be absent as well. The next phylum Echinodermata. The term echino means rough. Derma means skin. So their skin is rough, or they are rough bodied animal. Example, starfish. Next phylum Hemichordata. Example, Balanoglossus. Now here Hemichordata, as the name hemi means half. Chordata, they are partially chordate or half chordate, and we can also say this is a connecting link between a non-chordate and chordate. So they are the main part where they link with the non-chordate as well as chordate. Okay, then we come to the second part, that is chordate, where you have subphylum Urochordata, example Herdmania, Cephalochordata, Amphioxus, Vertebrata, which is further divided into Agnatostomata and Gnathostomata. Now just coming back to Urochordata, example Herdmania. Now when you come across chordata, all these species have got backbone. or the early known species of example Herdmania of Urochordata, Amphioxus. Now they may have completely or at certain stages they may have presence of chordate. That's a Urochordata, Cephalochordata, they come under chordate. Then vertebrata division Agnatostomata and Gnatostomata. Agnatha means absence of jaw. Okay, and stomata means mouth. So here one of the class in that which we learn is cyclostomata, example lamprey, whereas gnathostomata, presence of jaws around the mouth, so hence gnathostomata. So superclass Pisces, amphibia, reptilia, aves and mammals. Now in Pisces, which is again divided into two parts, chondrichthyus and ostrichthyus. Chondrichthyus, cartilaginous fishes, examples Colliodon, or most commonly called as shark. Ostrichthyus, the bony fishes, example Rohu or Labio rohita. The second one, amphibia, as all of you know, the one which is present on land and water, example frog. Third, reptilia, snakes. There are other examples also in each of them. So we are learning the one which is easily remembered, snakes. Other than that, tortoise, turtle, lizards, crocodile, all this also comes under reptile. Ace, the next one, that is ostrich or all the birds. Okay, here also we can differentiate that birds, flightless birds, or the birds which may present on land, terrestrial part other than ostrich, penguin or kiwi, etc. And there are carnivorous birds, right? So again we can differentiate with them. Then mammalia, example bat, or we can say as the flying mammal. Clear? So this one page gives you an idea about the entire chapter and different species, phylum, class in the classification. So you can use it for revision as well. Clear? So now we move on to the next slide. Now we take one by one. Now in this part of the lecture, I had taken only the first five so that it will be easier for you to understand rather than going with all the phylum. So in this part we learned the first five phylum, starting with phylum Porifera. So as I told, the term pori means pores, feron bearing, that is spore bearing. So example Scypa, Euspongia, that is otherwise called as bath sponge, Euplectella, example or other name is Venus flower basket. Again towards the right I put this image where you can see different species in phylum Porifera. Then these are aquatic animals, the first point. Now when you say in the beginning of the phylum, most of them are aquatic and marine as well. So when you learn all the phylum, there may be many points, 15, 10, 12, right? So you can remember the easier one, and also one of the easier way to learn the common points in the different phyla and the uncommon points, so which will help you to learn and remember these terms. Okay, so as I told, first point, these are aquatic animals, most of them are marine and few are freshwater. So most of the species are found in marine water and few are found in freshwater. Second point, they are also called as sponges, as the appearance as a total presence of pores in it, they are called as commonly sponges. Third point, most of them have asymmetrical body. Now as we learn further, we may come across certain terminologies which you might have not come across in the earlier class. So it is very important to understand these terms, because further you are going to come across all these terms. So once you understand, it becomes easier for you to remember the different points. You don't need to learn it or have rote memory or by heart it, just you can understand by seeing the image or by the name. So here asymmetrical means the body is not having a proper symmetry. Now as we learned in the first part of the video, where asymmetry, symmetry or pseudo or different what we can say radial symmetry, or also we learn about coelomic cavity, acoelomic cavity or pseudocoelomic cavity. So we come across different criteria. So is one of the criteria asymmetric body, means all these species are asymmetrical, the body is uneven. Okay, next point, body of these animals consists of many cells with little division of labor Hence, their body is considered as a colony of different type of cells. Now, what does this mean? So there are different cells present, but they don't form any tissue. Right? If there is no tissue, no organ, but these cells, as there are many cells present, they have little division of labor, whereas they carry all the activity, whether it is metabolism, digestion, respiration, everything is carried out with the all the cells which is present. Okay, it is not divided like in case of higher animals. Therefore, respiration different cells are there, for carrying out circulation different cells are there. All these things are not there in case of porifera. So that's why little division of labor. Next, they're sedentary animals. Another term, sedentary. Sedentary means they're usually attached to a substratum. Substratum is stone, rock, log, wood, etc. Okay, so they don't move from one place to another place. So they always remain attached to the substratum. Then next, on their body, they bear numerous minute pores. As we learned, presence of pores, that's why they are differentiated as a porifera, and these pores are called as ostia, through which water enters into the body cavity. So this body cavity is called as spongocoel. Okay, so you, as I told, you come across different terms, so remember these terms: ostia, spongocoels. Okay, next, water leaves the body through single large opening called osculum. So they got one small opening at the anterior end, and as you know, told, it is attached to a substratum. So the attached part is the posterior lower part, and the anterior the upper part, and it has got a small opening, or you can say large opening, which is called as osculum. Water is circulated in the body through the canal system. So again, the circulation takes place inside the body through the canal system. During its circulation, cells of the animal body absorb food, exchange respiratory gases, and release excretory products. Now, just as earlier we read the point, it consists of many cells with little division of labor. So here it is very clear with this point that circulation, cells of the animal body absorb food, exchange respiratory gases, release excretory products. So all this is carried by the cells which are present. Then next, spongocoel is lined by special flagellated cells called choanocytes or collar cells. Choanocytes or collar cells, another terms. So these are the special flagellated cells. So beating of flagella creates water current. Okay. Next, body of these animals is supported by calcareous or siliceous spicules. When you say calcareous, it is made up of calcium. Siliceous, silica, the spicules which is present on the body. Or it can be proteinaceous spongine fiber, that is the fiber present on the body is made up of proteinaceous material. They reproduce asexually as well as sexually. So reproduction may take place with the help of gametes, asexually, or without gametes or without fusion, that is asexually. Now, asexual reproduction is performed by fragmentation and gemmule formation. So again, in asexual, two types are there. Fragmentation. Now by the term fragmentation, small fragments or part of the species can form a new species, or a gemmule formation takes place, with which the new species are formed from the gemmules. Next, these animals have ability of regeneration, means a part of the animal body can regrow into a new species. Next, sexual reproduction is performed by formation of gametes. As I told, always sexual reproduction, that is in presence of gametes, and these gametes, they fuse and fertilize. Then fertilization is internal. Development takes place through indirect larval stage. So here fertilization is internal, and the development of the stages is not clear. Now if I say, what does that mean? Like usually if you see in case of certain species like silkworm, etc., or butterfly, there is egg, larva, pupa, and the adult stage. So here that is not direct but indirect larval stage, so which is not clear as such which stage it is. So it is an indirect stage. Now moving to the next slide, where you can see the images. Now what are examples we learned in the porifera in the beginning? I put all the image of those species so that it becomes easier for you to understand. Like you can see top both the images which are animation GIF, where you can see how the movement takes place. Even though they are sedentary, they are attached to the rock or substratum, the movement is present. And the lower three images, first Venus flower basket, next bath sponge and skypa are the other examples in case of porifera. Okay. Now, so we come to the second phylum now, that is phylum Cnidaria. Now, as I told, it is also called as Coelenterata. Example: Hydra, Aurelia, that is jellyfish, Physalia, which is otherwise called as Portuguese man of war, Adamsia, sea anemone, Diploria, brain coral, Gorgonia, sea fan, or Gorgonia, how we spell it, Gorgonia sea fan. Now with the name, common name, we can understand the shape, sea fan, fan-like appearance, brain coral, where the coral or the species appear like a human brain, hence the name. So what I have done is, again like the first phylum, all the example which is given here, I put the images in the next slide, so you will understand easily with the examples and the images which is present. Okay. Now the first point, they are aquatic, mostly marine, and few freshwater forms. The same point which we learned in the previous phylum, that is the porifera, they are also aquatic, mostly marine, and few are freshwater forms. Okay. Now second point, they are sessile or free swimming. Now what does that mean? Now in the previous phylum we saw that they are sedentary, they don't move, but in case of Cnidaria, some species are sedentary like Hydra, and some species they are free swimming like jellyfish, which move from one place to another. Next point, they show radial symmetry and are diploblastic with blind sac body plan. Now we, as we move further, we can come across a different criteria which we learned in the first part, that is radial symmetry. The body is divided from the center of axis into equal parts, like as we learned about the example starfish. So in this case also, like Hydra, it has got radial symmetry. Diploblastic, diplo or di, presence of two germ layers, ectoderm and endoderm, with blind sac body plan, means again there is a mouth opening present, that is which is common, food enters through it and waste parts are excreted out of the same opening. Okay. Next, animals exhibit two body forms. Polyp is cylindrical form, that is example Hydra, and Medusa is umbrella like, which is Aurelia or jellyfish. What does that mean? So there are two types of species present in this, as I told in the second point. One which is sedentary, which does not move, that is Hydra. Second, which is sessile or free swimming, which moves from one place to another, that is jellyfish. So even though the phylum is Cnidaria, there were two different type of species present in it, but the characteristics are same. Okay, other than the sedentary and sessile or free swimming part. Then next, body cavity is meant for circulation as well as digestion, hence called gastrovascular cavity or coelentron. So the body cavity which is present here is helps in circulation and digestion, both parts. So the cavity is called as coelentron. That's why the name also is called as Coelenterata, or here as we learn as Cnidaria. Next, tentacles bear cnidoblasts or stinging cells which are meant for anchorage, offense and defense. So they have got special cells, like as I told in the previous phylum also. So remember this specific terms, cnidoblast or stinging cells, which helps to anchor, that is for support, offense to attack, or defense to defend against any predators. Next, cnidarians reproduce both asexually and sexually. Similar to Porifera, even here species they reproduce asexually and sexually with the help of gametes. Now, next, asexual reproduction takes place by budding and regeneration. So in case of asexual budding, there is for example Hydra, small bud starts to grow, separates from the mother body, and that part grows into a fully grown new species. Regeneration, part of the uh, animal body can grow into a new species, or the part can be regrown. Next point, sexual reproduction takes place by gamete formation. So always, as I told, sexual reproduction is by gametes which fuse and fertilization occurs. Next point, they exhibit alternation of polyploid generation with medusoid generation. Now here, when you say alternation, so here as we learn, two types of species are there, polyp and medusa. So here there is alternation of generation, the polypoid species with medusoid generation or vice versa. That this phenomenon is called as metagenesis, another term, that is polyps produce medusa asexually and medusa produce polyp sexually. Example, Obelia. So you can see the left image which is of Obelia, which I just put so that you can understand what is Obelia example or species looks like. And right side you can see jellyfish species which is the animation. Few more species we can see in the next slide. Whatever examples as I told, the first one Hydra, you can see the Hydra species, also the budding process how it takes. Then Aurelia, jellyfish, which again you saw in the first slide. Then third, Physalia, Portuguese man of war. You can see slight difference in the jellyfish and in Physalia species. Then again lower part left, Adamsia, otherwise called as sea anemone, Diploria, brain coral. So as I told, the name given because of the appearance of this coral looking like the human brain. And then last one, Gorgonia, sea fan. If you see the appearance, it looks like a fan-like species which is spread out. So hence the name sea fan, commonly called as. Now, third, we come to phylum Ctenophora. Example, Pleurobranchia or Ctenoplana. So two examples are there. Again, you can see here the image or animation of Pleurobranchia. First point, these are commonly called as comb jelly or sea walnuts. Because of that, if you see here now, there's a slight appearance like a walnut. So hence the name given. Next, these are exclusively marine. So here also most of them marine species. Free swimming animals. So all are free swimming type. They are not sedentary. Then body is diploblastic. Again two layers are present. Ectoderm, endoderm, radially symmetrical. That is from the center of axis they are divided into equal half. Then with blind sac body plan, again there is one opening present through which food enters and waste is excreted out of the body. Next, animals have tissue level organization. What does that mean? Now in the previous one we saw cellular level or cells are present but they don't form any tissue. They have little division of labor, but here the cells they aggregate to form tissues. So that is why it is called as tissue level organization. But these tissues they don't form any organ as such. Next, locomotion is carried out by 8 rows of ciliated comb plates. So there are 8 rows of comb plates present, hence the name given as comb jelly. So which helps in movement and locomotion. Next, characteristic feature of ctenophores is bioluminescence. What does that mean? It glows. You can see here also in the moving animation it is glowing, right? Then this is one of the features in bioluminescence. Then luminescence of Ctenophora, that is in Pleurobranchia and Ctenoplana. Then nidoblast, that is like next point is like cnidarians, ctenophores also exhibit extra intracellular digestion. That is in case of the digestive system. Reproduction is sexual with indirect development. So here it is by gametes. Next, nidoblasts are absent. Hence, these are called echinidarians, means here there is no stinging cells or any nidoblasts as such, so they are echinidarians. They have got coleoblast or coleoblast as we spell it, that is sticky cells to capture the prey. Next, Ctenophora is represented by few members, hence it is considered as one of the minor phyla. So as I told, here there are very few species present, as you saw comb jelly, there's Pleurodranchia or Ctenoplana. So it is the smallest known phyla. Moving on to the next slide, we can see again the two examples in that is Ctenoplana, Pleurodranchia, and also you can see the moving images where in case of Pleurodranchia, as you can see, it is glowing, showing bioluminescence, whereas towards the right you can see Ctenoplana, again the species which is animation you can see where movement, how the movement takes place in Ctenoplana. Okay, now we come to the fourth phylum, phylum Platyhelminthes. As I told, platy means flat, helmin worms. Example, Planaria, Taenia or tapeworm, fascicola, that is liver fluke. So you can see here three examples: liver fluke, tapeworm and Planaria. So we go to the points one by one. Body of these animals is dorso-ventrally flat, means the upper and lower surface, dorsal and ventral, is flat, hence are called as flatworms. Next point, animals are acoelomate triploblastic, showing organ system grade of organization. So you can see as the level or phylum we go higher level, we can see different grade of organization as well. Acoelomate, there is no true body cavity. Triploblastic, all the three layers are present, that is ectoderm, endoderm and mesoderm. And organ system, so here cells form tissue and tissues form organ and forming the organ system. Next, mostly endoparasite and few are free living. When you say endoparasite, they can enter the human body or the mammals through food or water, for causing harm to the organism, and some are free living species. Next, parasitic forms show presence of hooks and suckers for attachment to the body of host. As you can see the liver fluke, they got suckers which help to suck the body fluid. Next, digestive system is generally absent in parasitic forms, but in free living forms it is incomplete and show blind sac pattern. So as you can see, digestive system, there is no body cavity as such. Only in case of the free living form it is present, but it's a blind sac pattern, means opening it from one end, there is food enters and leaves to the same opening. Next, animals have flame cells or protonephidia. Again, new terms coming here, flame cells or protonephidia, which help for excretion and osmoregulation. There is removal of waste products from the body, excretion, osmoregulation to maintain the internal environment of the body. Then next, animals are hermaphrodite, that is bisexual. What does that mean? Hermaphrodite means the gametes, male and female gametes, testis and ovary, both will be present in the same species. Hence, they are called as hermaphrodite. Next, self-fertilization is seen. Next, few have high power of regeneration and show polyembryony. When you say high power regeneration, for example, Planaria, if the body part is cut into two parts accidentally or by some reason, so that two parts can form into a new species. Then polyembryony, that is more than one embryo can be seen. Okay, here we can see the examples. That is one of these flatworm found in ocean. Then you can see tapeworm image, how long it can be. Then lower image left, Planaria. Now if you see the Planaria species, you can see present of eye spots, which is not the true eye, but eye spots are present. And again you can see some examples of Planaria, or you can say liver fluke, where Fasciola hepatica, Fasciola gigantica, two different species. We come to the fifth phylum and last for this part so that you can learn the first five parts clearly. Now phylum Aschelminthes, Ascus sac helminth worm. So sac like, or as we use the term, roundworm. Or there's another name Nemathelminthes. So here the term nema means thread like. So it can be called as threadworm or a roundworm. So example Ascaris roundworm, Wucheria filarial worm or Ankylostoma hookworm. First point, these are mostly parasitic, few forms are free living. So here we can say mostly they are parasitic forms which cause harm, like the filarial worm, which might have heard Wucheria bancrofti or hookworm. Then they are free living form, that is they are not sedentary part, they can move from one place to another. Next point, body is long, cylindrical, thread-like, circular in cross-section, hence they are called as roundworm. So as the name suggests, they are cylindrical body or thread-like and circular in cross-section when you make a section of the body. Next, they are triploblastic, means all three layers, ecto, endo and mesoderm are present. Bilaterally symmetrical, that is bodies can be equally divided into two halves. Pseudocoelomate means false body cavity is present with two within two body plan, means both mouth and anus are present, both openings are present. Next point, body is covered by tough and resistant cuticle, so which covers the body part. Body wall has longitudinal muscles but no circular muscles, so which is present to move forward, but there is no circular muscles as such, which we may see in phylum Annelida. Then next, alimentary canal is complete with mouth and anus at opposite ends, as we just learned about two within two body plan. Next, pharynx is well developed and muscular. Next, excretion takes place by canals or gland cells. So if you see excretory organ, they are different for different phyla. Excretory products are eliminated through excretory pore, that is the anus part. Nervous system has got nerve ring and nerves. Now as you go to the higher phylum, you can see the presence of nervous system. Next, animals are unisexual, that is sexes are separate. So you can see male and female. Then animals like Ascaris show sexual dimorphism. As we saw in the first slide, Ascaris has got male and female both, that is as we just read, they are unisexual. Then usually female is longer and broader and have straight posterior end, whereas male is shorter and narrower and has curved posterior end with a pair of pineal setae for copulation. Fertilization is internal. Development may or may not include larval stage. So now we can see the examples of it. Ascaris, we can see male and female. There are different species of Ascaris. Ascaris lumbricoides, Wucheria bancrofti, and we can see another example of the or image of the species. Clear? So these are the examples. Lastly, the assignment questions based on the particular thing which we learned or part we learned today. Thank you all of you.